Okay. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Today is Sunday and it's very, very special because we have the kids presentation every Sunday. Children of various age groups from the Bhakti Sangha Kids Academy come forward and make various presentations, exhibiting their presentation skills, what they have been learning in Krishna consciousness for several years. So today we have a very special speaker with us. We have Kanchan with us who's going to speak about the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. So before we hand over to Kanchan, we'll have a small introduction about her. Okay. Kanchan is about 15 years old. She's studying in grade 10. She is good in art and craft, and she and her brother have a YouTube channel called as the Krishna Conscious Corner, where they post most quoted shlokas by Srila Prabhupada, Mridanga lessons by her brother, Kirtan, and some blogs also. So Kanchan has been in Krishna consciousness since she was very young. So we are very excited to hear from Kanchan about the glories of the six Goswamis. You can now take over the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna everyone, I'm Kanchan and today I'm going to be doing a presentation on the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. So the first Goswami we're going to take a look at is Rupa Goswami. So you must be wondering who Rupa Goswami is. He is, Srila Rupa Goswami is the younger brother of Sanatana Goswami. He took his birth in 1493. He lived for 73 years, which means that he disappeared in 1564. A quick breakdown for his life is 22 years in household life and 51 years in Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami is also known as Bhakti Rasacharya because he is expert in the taste of pure devotional service. He is known as Rupa Manjari in the spiritual world. And now let's take a look at who Manjaris are. So Manjaris are the servants of the Astashaki who then serve Radharani and Radharani serves Krishna. So basically they are the servant of Krishna. So now we know who Manjaris are, so we can move on to our slide. He established Govind Devji temple in Vrindavan. And we are known as Rupa Nugas. That is one fun fact because between us and Rupa Goswami. And we are known that because we are the followers of Rupa Goswami. So we're going to move on to his pastimes. The sweet rice pastime. So Srila Rupa Goswami had a desire to make sweet rice for his elder brother Sanatana Goswami. But he didn't have the necessary ingredients in order to make that sweet rice. So because he had that desire and he wanted to really make it for his elder brother, Srimati Radharani, she came down to give the ingredients disguised as a coward girl. So Rupa Goswami didn't know that it is Srimati Radharani, but he got the materials. And Rupa Goswami then used the materials given by Radharani to make the sweet rice. So after eating the sweet rice, Sanatana Goswami, when he realized that, when he asked Rupa Goswami to tell all the story, how the sweet rice was actually very tasty. It felt like it was from the spiritual world. It wasn't made in a material world. So Sanatana Goswami he was questioning Rupa Goswami on how he made the sweet rice. So then Rupa Goswami said all the story that he didn't have the ingredients, and this one little coward girl came and gave the ingredients, and I used those and made this sweet rice for you. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you liked it. So then Sanatan Goswami understood that was actually Srimati Radharani, and out of his humbleness, he started condemning himself again and again because he accepted service from Srimati Radharani. So he didn't like that he accepted unknowingly he accepted service from Srimati Radharani. So he didn't like that fact, and he started um, criticizing himself, kind of way. So now we're going to move on to Rupa Goswami meeting Srila Sanatana Goswami. Rupa Goswami meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Ramkeli, and upon meeting, he recited the verse Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratveshe Namaha. So he recited this verse upon meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he got the spiritual knowledge and instructions from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 10 consecutive days. So he met him in Ramkeli, and in Ramkeli, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him his personal instructions and spiritual knowledge for 10 consecutive days, from which Rupa Goswami wrote two main books, which are Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and Nectar of Instruction, which is Upadeshamrita. The next Goswami we're going to take a look at is Sanatana Goswami. So who is Sanatana Goswami? Srila Sanatana Goswami appeared in 1488 in a Saraswat Brahmin family in Bengal, and he was born 5 years before Rupa Goswami. His name was Sri Amar when he was born, because Sanatana Goswami is after initiation or after he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So his name was Sri Amar when he was born. He disappeared at the age of 70 in the year 1558. He is the elder brother of not only Rupa Goswami, but he also had another younger brother named Anupam. In the spiritual world, he is Lavanga Manjari or Rati Manjari. So we know who Manjaris are. So now in the spiritual world, we know that he is a servant of Lord Krishna himself. And he established Radha Madan Mohan Temple in Vrindavan. So now we're going to take a look at his education. He knew languages like Sanskrit, Arabian, and many more. He studied under the country's leading scholars named Vidya Vachaspati. So he was like Vidya Vachaspati was like his guru in his childhood education, and he learned many scriptures from his guru when he was a small child, but he was very much attached to Srimad Bhagavatam. So now let's take a look at some pastimes of Sri Sanatana Goswami. So the Srimad Bhagavatam pastime. Sanatana Goswami in his youth dreamed a beautiful Brahmin boy giving him Srimad Bhagavatam. So in his dream, a little Brahmin boy came and gave him Srimad Bhagavatam. And because he, in the last slide, we learned that he really liked Srimad Bhagavatam. He was very happy to see that this little Brahmin boy is coming and giving him Srimad Bhagavatam. Feeling ecstatic, he woke up, but then neither seeing the Brahmin boy nor seeing the Bhagavatam, he became very sad. And after that, he started doing his program, his morning program. And then Krishna himself, again, disguised as a Brahmin boy, came and said, take this Srimad Bhagavatam, always study it, and you will attain perfection. So what he dreamed of was became a reality. He actually Lord Krishna himself came disguised as a Brahmin boy, and he gave him Bhagavatam and told him to study it, and he will attain perfection. Let's move on to the other pastime. which is Chakleshwar Mahadev pastime. So while living in Vrindavan and on Govardhan Hill, Sanatan Goswami was getting very distracted by the insects, or in particular mosquitoes, living around him. And there were a lot of them, so he was very distracted. He couldn't do his services. He couldn't read Srimad Bhagavatam, and it was really distracting. So then he decided to leave that place. But the protecting deity, or the so it is said that in the Dham, Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva is protecting some kind of dam, and and here in Govardhan he is called Chakleshwar Mahadev. So he is protecting that, and Sanatan Goswami is living there. He's doing his services. He's reading Srimad Bhagavatam. He is Chakleshwar Mahadev is having the association of Sanatan Goswami. Even though he doesn't know it, he is having the even though Sanatan Goswami doesn't know it, he is Chakleshwar Mahadev is having the association of Sanatan Goswami. So and he really liked it, because he too is a devotee of Lord Krishna, and Sanatan Goswami is too doing the services of Lord Krishna, and he's talking about Lord Krishna, he's glorifying Lord Krishna. So Chakleshwar Mahadev really liked it, and he wanted him to stay back. So then he that night he appeared in Sanatan Goswami's dream, and he said that he wouldn't be distracted by the mosquitoes anymore, so please don't leave. He promised that the insects won't distract him anymore. There will not be any more insects, and he requested him not to leave. And the next morning, what Chakleshwar Mahadev said in Sanatan Goswami's dream was actually true. There were no more insects, and Sanatan Goswami then decided to stay back. And till now, it is said that till now there are no more insects and there are no mosquitoes. So now we're going to move on to pastimes of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. So by now we know that they're brothers. So the pastimes that they did together, the pastimes that they did together, we're going to learn about that. So Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami were both always engaged in Bhava Bhakti from their early childhood. So in Bhava Bhakti of Sri Krishna, so they were always engaged in the services of Krishna, and they experienced Bhava Bhakti. They did Bhava Bhakti. So even while playing, they remember Vrindavan. So they remember Vrindavan a lot. They wanted to be in Vrindavan. They remember Vrindavan so much so that while playing, they named the forest. So in back in those days, they didn't have like toy cars or toys like us, so they were just playing hide and seek or something in the forest around their house, something like that. So they named the forest around their house based on the forest in Vrindavan. So so say like Talavan, Madhuvan, Kamyavan, Mahavan. So they were always engaged in the past Krishna's pastimes, and they learned about Vrindavan, and then they remembering Vrindavan, they named their surrounding as what is actually in Vrindavan. Not only the forest, but also the bathing ponds. They call their favorite bathing ponds Radhakund and Shyamakund. So wherever they go for bathing, they named it Radhakund and Shyamakund. And when they grew up a little, even though they didn't like it, they were being forced to work under the Muslim king named Hussein Shah. And they were said that if they leave their position or deny doing their service in the court, they will all the Vedic sacrifices and Hindus will be destroyed, and all the cows will be killed. So they were basically forced to do. They were forced to work there, and had no option of not working, because if they denied, all the Vedic sacrifices and Hindus would be destroyed, and all the cows would be killed just because of them. So they were forced to work there, and they did. They were given names. So Rupa Goswami was given the name Daber Khas, and Sanatan Goswami was given the name Sakra Malik. So now we're going to move on to how Rupa and Sanatan Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is before they meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Both of them had dreamed of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructing them to perform their prescribed duties and to not get entangled in the material world. So they were Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in their dream, in both of their dreams, came and said that you're supposed to perform your prescribed duties. Just keep doing what you're doing. Read Srimad Bhagavatam, do all your services, and do not get too much entangled in the material world. So do not get attached to your possessions or anything like that. And then after the dream, they wrote many letters to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but never got any reply from him. So um, they wanted to contact him. They wanted to um, have his association, and they wanted to like gain knowledge, more knowledge. They wanted to be with him, but and so they wrote many letters, but then they never got any reply. And finally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote a letter back. So and then after that, they go to Vrindavan. So now, after they meet, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami came to Vrindavan to fulfill 4 orders of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in the letter back, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, told them, gave him 4 orders, and they were supposed to fulfill that, because that was like the order from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the first one was uncover Sri Krishna's lost pastime places. So where Krishna did his pastimes, they were supposed to discover them and give more knowledge to other people. Tell them that this is a place where this happened. This is a place where this happened. So say where Krishna lived, where Krishna, where the Damodar Leela happened, where Putana was killed, where the Govardhan Leela obviously happened in Govardhan Hill. So they were supposed to tell where the pastimes happened. The second one was to install deities and start worshipping them. So that is why we saw that Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami both established temples, and they were supposed to worship in that. So yeah. The third one was write Bhakti Shastras. So they were supposed to write books and based on the teachings that they got from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we see that in Rupa Goswami, he wrote Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu and Upadeshamrit. And they were supposed to propagate the rules of Bhakti Yoga. So they were in those books, they were supposed to establish or like spread the rules of Bhakti Yoga, and they themselves were supposed to follow the rules of Bhakti Yoga. So that was Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. So now next we're going to move on to Jiva Goswami. Childhood of Jiva Goswami. Srila Jiva Goswami appeared in 1455 as a son of Anupam. So Anupam, by now we should know that he is a younger son of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. So Jiva Goswami becomes the nephew of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. He disappeared at the age of 85 in 1540. He showed all features of a divine person. So he had lotus eyes, a high nose, forehead, broad chest, long arms, and a radiant golden body. So these are all features of a divine person, and Jiva Goswami showed them all in himself. When he was in his childhood, he worshipped the Krishna Balaram deities, and he was very attached to them. He offered boga, performed arti and kirtan for them, and carefully decorated them, served them attentively. Srila Jiva Goswami was so attached to the deities that every night before going to bed, he would embrace them and then go to bed. So, obviously, by the services, we know that he was very attached to his deities, and he would embrace his deities before going to bed. And um, yeah, and he always, so just like his uncles, he was always engaged in Krishna's pastimes. He always remembered Krishna's pastimes, and he played games related to Krishna's pastimes. So yeah, so and then he saw the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a child, and constantly meditated upon him after that. So as a child, he saw, because he is one generation down from the Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. So he saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when in his childhood. Now we're gonna move on to his education. Srila Jiva Goswami, during his schooling, mastered Sanskrit grammar, poetry, logic, and philosophy. So these are the things that he mastered when he was a small during when he was doing his school. Srimad Bhagavatam gave life to his life, and Krishna Katha gave him happiness. So he couldn't live without Krishna in the center. Um, Srimad Bhagavatam was his life, and Krishna Katha was happiness in his life. So uh, nobody can live without a life. So no, he couldn't live without Srimad Bhagavatam, and in a life you have happiness. So his happiness was Krishna Katha. So hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from someone else, no one no one dared to speak to him anything other than Krishna. So because we already know that he's very much attached to Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Katha, that is his life, and that's his happiness. He gets a great happiness from that. So everybody knows that he won't be interested in anything other than Krishna. So nobody even dared to talk to him anything other than Krishna, about anything other than Krishna. Later on, education, he was taught Srimad Bhagavatam by Rupa Goswami after his initiation. So he took initiation from Rupa Goswami, and he was taught Srimad Bhagavatam. He also proofread Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is one of Rupa Goswami's books. So after his initiation, he was given a service to proofread Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and made a commentary called Durgama Sangam Sangamani. So now we're gonna take a look at how he met Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So at a very young age, Anupam, father of Jiva Goswami, or the brother of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, he left his body at a very young age. So Jiva Goswami became very sad. He was in great sadness. So someone recommended him to go meet Nityananda Prabhu in Navadvip. So because he was very sad after his father leaving his body, his friend recommended him to go meet Nityananda Prabhu in Navadvip. So in Navadvip, when he reached Navadvip, everybody in Navadvip was very happy to see him, because Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, nobody got to see any of the family members of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. So everybody was very happy to see the nephew of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. They were very happy to see Jiva Goswami in Navadvip. So then he went touring Navadvip with Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu showed him the Navadvip and the importance and everything like that. Now after touring Navadvip, Nityananda Prabhu told him to go back to Varanasi and take care of his mother, because his father left his body at a very early, not very early. So he was the only son, so he had to take care of his mother, as a woman is always supposed to be under care of um, a male or a boy. So he was supposed to go there, and then after that he went back to Vrindavan, after which he gets initiation from Rupa Goswami. The next Goswami we're going to take a look at is Raghunath Das Goswami. Who is Raghunath Das Goswami? Raghunath Das Goswami was born in a dynasty of Vaishnavas, and he is the only son of the wealthy landowner. He is born in the village called Sri Krishnapur, and his father was Govardhan Majumdar. Um, he studied in the house of Acharya Sri Balaram Das. This place was also visited by Haridas Thakur. So his education was done by Acharya Sri Balaram Das, and he went to his house to study. And that place was also visited by Haridas Thakur, which means that he also had great association of Haridas Thakur and could hear all his lectures and all have his association and everything. And obviously, Haridas Thakur is going to talk about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. And upon hearing the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu from Haridas Thakur, Raghunath Das Goswami gets a desire. He desired to take darshan of their lotus feet, of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. And his chanting was so good. His chanting was so pure. It was so calming. It was so blissful that even the tiger didn't attack him while he was doing his chanting. So in the picture, we can see that the tiger is just calmly sitting down instead of attacking him. So, and he is chanting over there. So we know that his chanting was very pure and good. Now let's move on to his pastimes. So Raghunath Das Goswami was also in like a similar generation as Deva Goswami, which is one generation down from Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Out of all the Goswamis, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were the only ones who could actively associate with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and got instructions. All the other ones were very young, and they saw or heard about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at a very young age when they were very little in their childhood. So Raghunath Das Goswami couldn't live after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left the world. So he didn't get the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he thought that, oh, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not here anymore. So what am I going to do? I don't want to live in this world. So I'm going to yeah, he then decided to end his life. He came to Vrindavan to end his life by jumping off Govardhan hill. So he didn't want to live in the world without Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and without the association of other devotees. So he thought of going to Vrindavan and ending his life. So then Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami received him very affectionately, and they somehow convinced him to live on and enlighten all Brajvasi Vaishnavas by telling the pastimes, telling Mahaprabhu's pastimes in Puri. So for at least 3 hours a day, he spoke about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the banks of Radhakund. So because Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami somehow convinced him to live on, and they told him to talk about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his pastimes. So he at least for 3 hours every day, he was talking about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the banks of Radhakund. Now we're going to take a look at his pastimes. One of his pastimes is Panihari festival. While Raghunath Das Goswami was devising a plan on how to be delivered from the entanglements of the material world, so we already know that he wanted to end his life because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not here anymore. So and now that he was somehow convinced to live on, he now thought about how he could be delivered from this entanglement, how he could get freedom from this material world. So then he heard that Nityananda Prabhu had made an auspicious appearance in the town of Panihati. So he had come in Panihati to associate with the devotees in there and tell pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and just have a great time with all his associates. So then, thinking that Nityananda Prabhu will be great deliver is a great deliverer for most fallen souls, and that by his mercy he could find his freedom. He could be freed from his entanglements in this material world. He crosses the Ganges to go to the to go to the town Panihati, to where he finds Nityananda Prabhu sitting under a tree on a wooden seat surrounded by his associates. So he was already there. He was sitting with his associates. He was talking about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, having a great time with with all the other devotees in Panihati. So as soon as Raghunath Das Goswami saw him from a distance, he fell to the ground, did obeisances just like a rod. So he fell down like Dandavat, like how we are supposed to do Dandavat. He did that to Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu, he immediately um, told him to come close to him, and and Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram himself, and Balaram is Krishna's incarnation. So, but Nityananda Prabhu already he knows what Raghunath Das Goswami's desire is, and he wanted to fulfill that. So he somehow arranges for him to get a service of serving the Vaishnavas. So then he said that, like a thief, you don't come near me, but simply try to run away. Now that I have caught you, I shall punish you. I want you to feed all my followers chip rice and yogurt. So this is what Nityananda Prabhu said to him, and it is said that every curse has a blessing in itself. So this wasn't like a curse; this was a punishment, and and this was also a blessing of Nityananda Prabhu, and it was and Raghunath Das Goswami got a service to do to the Vaishnavas, which is a great service, because it is said that you should be the servant of Krishna. So now he's getting to serve the devotees. He's getting to serve the Vaishnavas, which is which is very great. So then Raghunath Das Goswami was filled with joy, and he was very happy. After this, they had the Panihati festival, in which, as we in the previous slides, we already by the previous slides we already know that Raghunath Das Goswami was the only son of the wealthy family house. So he's born in a wealthy family, and he renounced everything, and then so now he can go back, and with his wealth he bought um much cheap rice and yogurt, and he distributed it everything between all the devotees and Vaishnavas. Now we're gonna take a look at Raghunath Das Goswami's daily bhajan. So what he did daily. He chanted 64 rounds of japa, which is 100,000 holy names of the Lord in one day. He did Mansi Seva of his spiritual body. He worshipped Govardhan Shila. He took bath 3 times a day. He did 1,000 obeisances to Krishna and 2,000 obeisances to the Vaishnavas and embraced them. He rested only 90 minutes, that is 1.5 hours, and some days not even that. So he maximum he slept 1.5 hours every day, and for some days he wouldn't even sleep at all, and he ate only 1 leaf cup of buttermilk, which is 100 grams of 100 buttermilk every day. So he ate only buttermilk. He did 1,000 obeisances to Krishna. So all the temples that are in Vrindavan, all the temples, he would go around and do obeisances, and and he would do 2,000 obeisances to Vaishnavas and embrace them, and he would chant 100,000 holy names of the Lord in a day. So that is all what he did. We will be moving on to the next Goswami, which is Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Who is Raghunath Bhatta Goswami? Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was born in Varanasi as the son of Tapan Mishra. He met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was 8 years old. So as I said earlier, all the Goswamis other than Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when they were very, very young. So he just like the other Goswamis, he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was just 8 years old. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would take him on his lap and pat him. So which is a very great thing. He is in association with the Lord himself, with Krishna himself. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami would massage Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet, eat his remnants, um, hear his teachings, so the Bhagavatam or anything like that, and wash the Lord's dishes. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was very good at cooking and reciting Bhagavatam. And this is going to help him later on. We're going to take a look at that. He was very humble and never talked nonsense. So in Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita, the first verse, we see that you should control your speech, which means that you shouldn't talk nonsense. In those days you were according to that shloka, in those days you weren't supposed to talk anything other than anything other than anything related to Krishna. So you were supposed to talk only about Krishna and nothing other than that. So in the current time, that's not possible because we go to school and we have other stuff to do. So which means that you shouldn't talk nonsense. So you shouldn't be just talking random stuff which doesn't make sense and which is not useful. So he was very humble, and he never talked nonsense stuff. And he is Raga Manjari in the spiritual world. So we know who Manjari is. He is Raga Manjari in the spiritual world. We are going to go to his pastimes. So he went to Puri, Jagannath Puri, with the other devotees and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when he was there, he cooked for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the devotees. He cooked, and he performed kirtan for 8 months, almost 8 months, and he satisfied Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by that. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased by his cooking and performing kirtan. So in the previous few slides, we know that he is very good at cooking and Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam or reciting Srimad Bhagavatam or giving lectures on Srimad Bhagavatam. So then after the 8 months that he spent with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him to return home and serve his parents. And by the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami also remained lifelong brahmachari. So he was supposed to go back to his home and serve his parents and remain a lifelong brahmachari. His services was to constantly chant Hare Krishna and recite Srimad Bhagavatam. So chanting Hare Krishna is a service to be done by everybody. And Srimad Bhagavatam, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, and giving lectures or talking about Srimad Bhagavatam with his devotees, he really liked that. So he was given a service to do that. And After his parents passed away, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami um, went to Vrindavan. So um, almost all the Goswamis were so all the Goswamis that met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at a very young age. They met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then after that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told them to go back, serve their parents, and when their parents passed away, they were supposed to go and live in Vrindavan with the other devotees and with the other Goswamis. So they were all received by Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, who were already living there. And then later on, he made a temple for Govind, and he lived in Radhakund. So now we're gonna take last Goswami, that is Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Childhood of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Gopal Bhatta Goswami appeared in 1503 as a son of Venkata Bhatt and a resident of Sri Rangam. He disappeared at the age of 75 in 1578. Um, Gopal Bhatta Goswami got the opportunity to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was touring South India in the year 1512, when he stayed at the house of Venkat Bhatt, who was the father of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, for the 4 months during Chaturmas. So it is said that brahmacharis and sannyasis aren't supposed to be traveling in the Chaturmas time. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was touring South India. So at that time, he was supposed to stay in one place. So he goes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to the house of Venkat Bhatt, which is the father of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So at this time, Gopal Bhatta Goswami gets a great opportunity to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and receive information and associate with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We're going to take a look at his education. His guru was Sri Prabodhananda Saraswati, who is the uncle of him. And after his initiation from Sri Prabodhananda Saraswati, he goes to Vrindavan and becomes a dear friend of Sri Rupa and Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. So again, he after doing his education, after serving his parents, after his household services are done, he then goes to Vrindavan to associate with the other Goswamis over there. And the pastime, he went on a pilgrimage. He was once bathing in a pond or lake, and when he came out, he saw that in his cloth bag he had 12 shaligram shilas. So then he thought maybe they came in here by mistake, so he puts them in the water again. But then the next day when he goes again all the 12 shaligram shila come back in his cloth bag. And now he thinks that, oh, maybe it is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Prabhu that I'm getting to serve them. So he takes them to his house and he serves them. And and then one day one of his friend, he came and he was distributing clothes and decorations for decorating items for deities. So he comes to um, Gopal Bhatta Goswami and he says, "Here, you can have these too." But then Gopal Bhatta Goswami says that I don't have deities. I have Shalikram Shilas. I can't dress them. So then his friend says that it's fine. You can just keep them. So then that night, Gopal Bhatta Goswami then desires, and he says to Krishna that, "Oh Krishna, I want to worship your personal form. I want you to have two small legs, two small hands. I want you to have a beautiful face, beautiful eyes. I want you to have head and all the body parts so that I can worship you. I can dress you. I can worship you and your personal form." So then and the next morning he sees that the Damodar Shila, so he had 12 Saligam Shilas, and all of them were Shaligam Shila, and then one of them was Damodar Shila. the Damodar Shila in himself manifested as the beautiful deities named Radha. They were manifested himself as the beautiful Radha Raman deity. So the Damodar Shila himself became Radha Raman deities. So they are 12 inches long, and he is 12 inches long, and he is beautiful. And it is said that scientists went there and researched on it, and there were no evidence of carving. There are no marks of carving, and it is proved that the Damodar Shila, that was manifested by Krishna himself and to Radharman. And then since 1542 till now, Radharman deity was have been worshipped with pure devotion, following prescribed shastric rituals. So that's the pastime of Gopal Bhatt Goswami, and that ends my presentation on the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Thank you very much for patiently listening for me. Please forgive me if I did any mistake. And yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Kanchan. It was so nice, and you were sharing all the detailed pastime of the six Goswamis, and it was very informative. When I got so many things, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. Nice presentation.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Kanchan, your class is very good, and this is the coloring paper that I did on your class.
Can you
That's
see?
very Parinda.
Wait, I will spot her. Can you see her now?
That's very, oh, that's the six Goswamis, right?
Yeah,
That's very beautiful.
thank you.
You colored it very nice.
Thank you, Kanchan.
She picked the
You're
coloring paper when she saw your topic, and then she did coloring.
Very nice, Vrinda.
That's very nice. Good presence of mind.
Thank you. It was very beautiful presentation. So nice. Very elaborated presentation actually. It was very nice.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Kanchan, I really liked your presentation. And I have one question for you.
Yeah, sure.
What was your favorite story in the Six Goswamis?
What was that again?
What's your favorite story in the Six Goswami story you told us? What was your favorite story?
My favorite story?
Yeah.
My favorite story, the all 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 of them are very beautiful. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami with the sweet rice pastime was very beautiful. Raghunath Das Goswami with the Panihari festival was very beautiful. And most beautiful, I would say, is Gopal Bhatt Goswami with the Damodar Shila becoming manifesting by himself to Radharaman deities. So that was very out of the box and very mind opening, kind of mind blowing. So I like that one. I like all the pastimes. Um, yeah, I would say my favorite one was Gopal Goswami one.
Hare Krishna Kanchan, very nice class. So I just had a question. Like, you were saying, like, you know how you were saying that, like, he was working under the you know, the Muslim person. So, like,
Yeah.
why was he like I mean, if he was like, he's actually like, he's also a you know, he was like Hindu, so he was also a Hindu. So, like, what is the problem if they I mean, be with Hindus? Like,
So your question is that he was a Hindu. So what is a problem being with a Hindu, right?
No, like you know how you were saying that with the Muslim person, he was like having like some he used to get like mad if he was like talking, like not talking, but like he was like around the Hindu people. Like what is the problem?
Oh, okay. I get your question. So I I didn't put all the information in the slides. I just tried to like do the pastimes and just like summary kind of. So basically, the story is like so the Muslim king thing, he wants attention from the whole kingdom. So and most of his kingdom is Hindus, and they really followed Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. And so the Muslim king Hussein Shah thought that maybe if I get Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami into my service, into the court, into my court, maybe that would help the Hindus will start like building a good relationship, maybe something like that, something along those lines. And so he kind of wants Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami to work under him. And Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami didn't want to work under him because they wanted to recite Srimad Bhagavatam, associate with the Lord, go to Vrindavan, and associate with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then, so now he starts forcing them to forcing them to work under him. So and then they start denying. So then now he says that okay, if you don't work under me, I'm going to destroy all the Vedic sacrifices, and all the Hindus and all the cows are going to be killed and everything like that. Does that
Oh, okay.
answer?
Yeah, thank you. So adding on to that question, I had another question. Like, if they like it's his wish, right? He could do whatever he wants. Like, why is he being controlled under this person then?
Because that so he is being forced to do that, as I already said. He because the Muslim king Hussein Shah really wants them to work under him, and they're being forced to do that. And there was also a time when they tried to run away, and I think they were put in jail, and they somehow escaped from there, and they went to Vrindavan. So they did try to run away, and they weren't given their own rights. They weren't given their own will to do, like, to not to deny the king. They were just forced to work under him.
Okay, thank you. Very nice class.
Hey Krishna, that was a nice presentation.
Thank you, Subhadra.
That was very nice class. You did very systematically. You took time to explain about each Goswamis and, tell the pastimes. Very wonderful and well put presentation.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, was a nice presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Manmai Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If anybody has any comment or question for Kanchan, otherwise we can move to our.
Mataji, this week we did not have classes, right? We can close the call maybe and we can meet on
Yes. Yes, we didn't have a class. Maybe we can close the call, and then again you can share your rhymes or sloka next week. That is good idea. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, and also Balram was asking to Kanchan. He was asking which pastime do you like, but I was thinking, Balram, which pastime do you like? from Kanchan was sharing so many pastime. Yes, is here still Mataji?
Yeah, Mataji, he's there. He's there.
Balram, yeah, Balram is there. Which past?
Do you like?
I like the Jiva Goswami pastime.
Jiva Goswami, which pastime do you like?
I forgot the pastime. I don't know which pastime is. I don't know which pastime. Forgot.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much, Balram. Yes, thank you all the kids for joining, and thank you once again, Kanchan, for coming and giving the presentation. It's really, really inspiring to all the other kids. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I just want to add one comment. Kanchan did very well and presentation was good, but she forgot reciting Mangalacharan in beginning.
Yes, Mata. I I totally forgot to do the obeisances. So, everybody, please forgive me if for not doing the obeisances. I am really
That's fine. That's fine. Some, it's like we become so nervous
Your
also.
mom, right? Who is speaking? It was your mom, right? Who spoke now?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, Mataji.
Mataji, you are there to remove mistakes of her, Mataji.
That's fine, Mataji. Because even Asra, sometime when she was doing presentation, and then she realized later on, oh, because of nervousness, kids they forgot Mataji. That's fine. Next time she can maybe remember her mistake. Thank you, Mataji, for allowing your kids and joining. They're really inspiring other kids also, and it is inspiring to us also, Mataji. Thank you.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada Mataji. Thank you for giving opportunity to both of my kids. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Now we can end the call, paying obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees. Vansakalpataru Kripa Sindhu Devacha
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय
Kanchan ki jai. Hari Bol. Hari
no,
Bol.
Mataji.
Good presentation. Thank you, Kanchan.
Thank you,
The
Mataji.
call. We'll meet again on Monday with our regular classes. Govinda, Madhava, and Damodar. Hari Bol to all the kids. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you, Manmai. Hare Krishna.